Hi, everyone, and welcome to the August 2023 Illumination reading for the sign of Leo. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot reading for Soul Illumination. My name is Lauren. Hi, and welcome. To everyone who is returning, thank you so much for your continued support. And for anyone new, I hope you get something meaningful out of this reading. So we're taking a look at the energy for the month ahead for the sign of Leo. And Leo, to all of you who have Leo as a strong placement in your chart, but especially to you solar Leos out there, happy birthday. Both my husband and my daughter are Leos, so I definitely love your energy. And I love your season because it's a time of celebration for us. So we're going to jump right in. I'm going to start by pulling a few cards to take a look at what you're bringing to the month, Leo. And then we're going to be looking at what Spirit is asking you to really focus on and embrace by the end of the month so that you can really bring in either a gift, a certain leveling up in abundance, or an area where you can really experience spiritual growth. So we're looking at where you're looking to elevate this month. So right off the bat, for your energy, Leo, we have the Two of Wands, we have the Seven of Cups, and we have the Eight of Cups. So what this tells me is that for some of you, there is a moving on from a place of indecision that maybe you've been in for a while. Now, the Seven of Cups can really speak to almost being stuck in a state. Ooh, that's quite a few. I'll see if a few others want to come out there. Being stuck in a state of wondering, it's almost like having too many options on the table. This would be like somebody who is maybe looking to start dating and they're like, oh my gosh, but where do I even start? The world is full of wonderful people and how could I choose just one? Or this would be like the person who's looking for the new job and it's like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what's out there and where do I even start looking for another, fulfilling career path. But there's something here with the Two of Wands coming in that says you are looking to make somewhat of a sizable decision for yourself. And the Two of Wands really speaks to kind of making the decision of where do I go from here. I sometimes look at it as kind of like the fork in the road card, where you might be turning your back on one way of action, a way of being, a way of doing that might have gotten you to this point. And now you can see the individual here has the world in his hands, and there's a sense here of seeing a broader picture for yourself. And that might mean that you turn away from a way that you've always acted or a way of being, and now it's time to choose a new direction. And this new direction is really taking you away from, I think, a place where you've, kind of been stuck in that, well, what about, maybe this will be more fulfilling. Maybe that would be better. Maybe this, where it's like, okay, there's so many options. But with the Eight of Cups, it's saying, you're walking away from that. You're walking away from something, from either a behavior, a way of being, or even just a cycle, because we are kind of going through big energy in the months of July, August, and September. And there may be this kind of realizing it's time for me to walk away from a specific cycle in my life, or maybe there was an element of a little bit of delusion or illusion. Now, in your external environment, you're going to be asked to face and focus on potentially friend groups that maybe you've had to leave behind with the Three of Cups here. So you have the Five of Cups in your external environment. This is what Spirit's asking you to really focus on this month and to really embrace the energy of this card. So by the end of the month, you are opening that door to that certain level of abundance or a spiritual gift or potentially a spiritual elevation or a point of growth for yourself. So what the Five of Cups really speaks to is something that happened most likely in the past that was emotionally disappointing. You see 3 cups spilled, but 2 cups are still upright behind the individual. So there's a sense here of someone who is very focused on what was lost instead of realizing that there was actually something gained from that experience, which is a sense of equal partnership, possibly someone who came in to support you unconditionally, or a new connection because of this. So going through that disappointment. So this can be where maybe you joined a friendship circle or a friend group, or you joined a networking group, and maybe something happened and you lost touch with some of the friends, or you lost touch with the network, or you ended up leaving that job behind, but yet you might have made a lasting connection through that experience, meaning you might have met your significant romantic partner. You might have, met a boss that turned into a mentor, and you guys have stayed in touch for many years. There's something around really being able to take a look this month at points in your life where maybe there was an element of emotional disappointment. And this could be with others. This could be in romantic partnerships. This could be in friendship groups, again, networking, or even in the work environment. But any place where it felt like you had tried to invest some time and energy into something, and those cups fell over. You poured from your emotional cup, and others did not reciprocate. But where can you now look at those points in your past and really see what connection? It's almost like connecting dots to get to where you are now, so that there's going to be a broader picture that's forming. And I think for many of you, this Eight of Cups is really realizing it's time for yourself. You're kind of ready on an emotional level for the new, for the new connections with others because of this Two of Wands. There's that sense of going out into the world in a different way, making a different choice, possibly seeing a bigger picture for yourself. Now, at the bottom of the deck, your main underlying energy is the Magician. Beautiful energy. This is where you're getting back in touch with your own magic. You're getting back in touch with how you utilize what's at your disposal, which is really what the Magician speaks to. He has all the elements there on the table, and he gets to use them in the way that he would like to be able to bring abundance into his life. And underneath the Magician, we have the Ten of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles. Very positive cards, Leo. The Queen of Pentacles can be seen as that kind of patient mother energy, someone who is very focused on growing something and nurturing something into their experience. And then the Ten of Cups is literally the happy family card. This is that getting in touch with that deep emotional fulfillment from your life experience and having enough to share with others. So there's really a sense here of getting to that place of intense gratitude and walking away from anything that is taking you away from this, taking you away from the dedicated focus on what you want to grow, taking you away. Sometimes we can be at a very wonderful point in our experience. We can literally have the Ten of Cups, and yet we're still focused on what didn't work at some point in our life, or possibly even who couldn't be here to join us in this moment. That can be another thing that pops up when we get to this point in our life that is so beautiful and wonderful, and we want to share it with others, and we realize we can't share it with the parent who has been recently deceased. And that hurts. It hurts that you can't maybe share this success. It can be where maybe you had, in order to achieve this, had to move to a different location and are unable to share that with a group of people you are very closely connected to in another area. But there's something here that says that you are entering a time of fulfillment, and that possibly with the Two of Cups here, there's going to be a focus on relationships for you this month specifically. And there may be a fated or destined relationship, specifically also with the Two of Wands. There may be a fated connection that comes in and kind of pushes you to see a new way for yourself, and possibly have a kind of a change in course, or I wouldn't say a course correction, but just being able to see a new way forward for yourself. So let's go ahead here and dive a little deeper. We're going to pull some cards now to take a look at a challenge or a block. We're going to see advice from Spirit as to how to overcome that. And then we're going to see what the gift that wants to come in for you this month. What is that? And then we'll pull clarifier cards and get a little deeper into the message after that. So let's see, what does Leo need to know for the month of August? What are their challenges and their potential? That's a little too many. Let's see if we can get just a few here. What does Leo need to know? Okay, so we have your card. So we have Strength. That's your card, and it's one of your major arcana cards here coming through, Leo. So it's that getting into that place of like lion-hearted courage. to really step into, and that may be being asked of you to actually make this new change, or to kind of, again, see a bigger picture for yourself that might actually lead you away from something that you've invested in long term. With 8 of Cups coming in, that can say that. This could be like a job you suddenly realize maybe is no longer fulfilling because someone comes into your life and shows you that there's another option for you out there. There is a level of, and it's strange because none of these cards really speak to suddenness, but I'm getting that intuitively coming through here, Leo. So we do have Venus going retrograde in your sign as of July 22nd. It will be retrograde in your sign through September. So this is a very lengthy, unusually lengthy Venus retrograde. And with it being in your sign, there is a potential for something along those lines. This is actually kind of very much showing the energy of that Venus retrograde, where there is a sense of kind of really looking at what you value, maybe even re-evaluating that there might be a moment where you realize that you do not value something that you used to value, and that could actually be that kind of spark, that instigation, or the instigator to looking to go in a new direction. But there's also kind of a sense too of, possibly fated relationships coming back up, maybe people from the past, or even people that, are coming in just to help you be able to see this. So yes, and then we have the 3 of Swords coming in. So strength is your main point of challenge, to really get to that place of kind of quiet confidence. The strength card can sometimes speak to taming your inner beast, really understanding how to wield your own power without becoming outwardly aggressive. It can almost be that kind of grace under fire energy. But for this, I'm really feeling that courage to maybe go in a new direction, that courage to walk away from something you've long invested in, the courage to also really take a look at what you have to be grateful for. Now, on the other side of that, we have the 3 of Swords. So this is really kind of explaining why there's a block here. The 3 of Swords are the wounds of the past. These are those thoughts that keep coming up in our mental space that ultimately then trickle down into our heart and emotional space. It's the people that told us we weren't good enough. It's anything, kind of the ghosts of these 3 cups falling over. It could be where you got let go from a job previously, or you had an issue with someone in your workplace and it keeps kind of popping up and makes you feel, like that person told me I was never going to, rise above a certain level in my career path, or that romantic partner told me I was not lovable, or my parent told me that I couldn't do X, Y, and Z, and yet here it is. And so there's something here about the shadow of that kind of the ghosts of the past wounding, really kind of putting that stop on just you diving into your own, the courage to really shine as your Leo, lion-hearted self, to go out there and do something new. There's something here around really having to face those wounds, those 3 of Swords. And those 3 of Swords, when we think about it, those are just what helps to get past, these kinds of just kind of plaguing thoughts. It really helps to really take a look at the individual or the circumstance that was wounding, and to see it from a new perspective as you look back. We can't go back in time as of now. We can't travel back in time. We can't change the past, but we can change the past in a way as to how we view the past. We can change our perspective when we look back to say, I see where that person did, yes, say something wounding to me, or that was a negative experience, but I see now from a new perspective why that had to happen. Or I can see why that individual who said that, well, they themselves had their own problems with the very same thing, and that's why they pushed it on someone else. Or you can see the limitations of a parent, looking back after now you've become a parent yourself, and you look back and go, oh, wow, yeah, I would have probably made that same mistake, or I might have said the same thing, and now I understand. There's something here kind of coming through a little bit, and facing those wounds, you get a chance to better understand, I think, also on an emotional sense, what was the actual benefit out of those wounding moments, or the loss that came through from those wounding moments. Okay, so then we have the 9 of Swords. We have the Wheel of Fortune right after that. Yeah, that's very positive here. And then we have the Ace of Swords. I love it, clarified by the 5 of Wands. So Bottom of the deck, your second underlying energy is the Queen of Swords. Okay, getting very clear on your story and what you are capable of, what you have survived. What are those lessons you've learned, and how can you actually wield them? There was this a theme coming up in a few of the weekly readings for this signs this week that was coming through very strongly around how utilize, almost like changing the story of how you describe your story up to this point of your life experience, and how can you start to change it in a positive way so that when you share it with others, you become the hero of your own story, and really seeing the power that has in even how you see yourself instead of maybe saying, well, I was a victim in this way, or these people hurt me, or I wasn't able to do X, Y, and Z. It's actually kind of turning that back around and saying, even though I was let go from that job, how I had to kind of struggle to get back on my feet really showed me what I was capable of. And that's now why I'm here today doing what I'm doing, because of that moment in time. And I'm grateful for it. The more we start to speak from that place, the more we really do start to see ourselves in that. And it starts to open doors to new opportunities for ourselves when we get to that place of really creating a positive spin for our experience. We don't have to go to a place of delusion where we say, like, where we don't admit that somebody hurt us deeply, or that somebody did something maybe awful or negative towards ourselves. We can be honest, but we can also be really aware of how we triumphed in that moment, of how we survived, or how we grew from that person's kind of maybe wounding behavior, and how now we are able to better address that when it comes up in other people and other circumstances. Now, at the heart of your reading, you have the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords, this is really what Spirit's asking you to embrace and to take a look at, to really help you overcome, or really help you get over the block of having the courage to really make this change here, or to walk away from something that is, again, has probably a long time not been fulfilling for yourself. Now, Nine of Swords speaks to, these are the thoughts that keep us up at night. This is kind of that anxiety, mental programming, where it's just like, but what if this bad thing happens, and what if that bad thing happens, and what if, and what if, and what if, and what if, and you notice it's just like these swords are just flying from the sky, and this poor individual is just trying to avoid them. So there's a sense here of really looking at where maybe you're overthinking something, where maybe in your planning or vision for the future, there's an element of kind of that negative thought patterning. Instead of saying, I wonder what's out there. If I'm going to walk away from something that really isn't fulfilling for myself anymore, or I'm going to walk away from a place of kind of being in a state of indecision, and I'm going to actually choose a direction, choose a path, how can I, instead of sitting here and just getting into this place of like anxiety around it, how can I instead get excited for the new? How can I instead say, I know something is not fulfilling in my life, so I'm ready to go out and with the Wheel of Fortune, I'm ready to kind of go out and meet my destiny. I'm ready to make this change. I'm ready to see a bigger, broader, stronger vision for myself. And I'm ready to really enjoy the 10 of Cups in my life. I'm ready to embrace the abundance that's coming in for me without the shadow hanging over from the past of what didn't work out. So this is a beautiful month where you can really look at where you are telling there's two things. And Nine of Swords can speak to, again, just the worry, just those thoughts that keep popping up of like, but what if, but what if, but what if, in a negative way. This can also kind of speak sometimes to when we think of kind of getting down into that what if space. It's also like where somebody's trying to imagine plan for every contingency, where it's like, but the sky could fall, and so I need to make sure that I have this and that and this and that. And then it's like all of a sudden you've gone so far past. This would be like saying, I want to go for a hike tomorrow, and I would love to just go for this wonderful hike. And yet you're like, yes, but what if there are bears? And what do then I need to research, what do I need to do if there are bears? And what if there are snakes? And what if there are spiders? And what if it rains? And what, it's like, whoa. Yes, you might have been put in that position because of, again, things that happened in the past that were very difficult. But this is saying, where can you kind of just stop and get into a place where you're acting more out of animal instinct, like the courage that comes from just being, that you feel it in your gut. That you're the magician, that if you come up against that Queen of Swords, your own story, you know what you're capable of. You know that if you come up against that in the moment, you'll be able to handle it. There's something here around getting to that place of confidence for yourself. Because with the Wheel of Fortune coming in and the Ace of Swords, there is a sense here of clarity as to what's coming in for you now. The Wheel of Fortune does speak to the wheel moving. There's a sense here of energy moving in your favor. There's a sense of, kind of that destiny element coming through. And with the Ace of Swords, there is a level of this kind of aha. I see something. I see the truth of something now. And with the Five of Wands coming in here at the bottom, there could be a sense of seeing the truth around either one of two things. A truth around a level of maybe competitiveness that you maybe have been bringing with you. This could actually be like the realization of, oh my gosh, I was competing with a vision of who I'm supposed to be because of a parent that told me I was never going to be worth enough unless I did X, Y, and Z. There could be a clarity around a level of chaos that has occurred in your life. The Five of Wands can speak to competition. It can speak to healthy competition or negative competition. It can speak to just too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen. Everybody's trying to do something kind of over or around somebody else. Or it can speak to just somewhat of kind of that combative, chaotic energy. And so there's something here around having clarity around either where there's been chaos in your life because you have been maybe overthinking something, or you have not been willing to get to this place of courage to really face the wounds of the past, face the things that haven't worked out, so that you can get to a place of gratitude for who is still in your life and to be able to enjoy the Ten of Cups that's here and ready and waiting for you. And to really get to that place of making that decision. I'm looking just at these two cards here. You have the Two of Wands, the individual's facing in one direction, and you have the Eight of Cups, the individual's going in the other direction. There's a sense here of there's almost like a split where you're walking away from, you have a choice. You can either walk away emotionally from something, or you can make a choice through your own action to choose to go in a new direction that is, I think, more fulfilling. It might actually speak to what you're passionate about. This can also be, too, for some of you with the Five of Wands, the Ace of Swords, and the Two of Wands over here. This could actually be where, for some of you, you're realizing a new passion is emerging, that there's a new way for you to live, either where you are utilizing a passion or something that you really enjoy doing, and that there may be a realization of, you know what, I need to take it out there. I need to start working with this. This could actually be like meeting somebody who says, hey, have you ever thought about, you seem to really like X, Y, and Z. Have you thought about doing this with it? Because this is becoming a big popular career path for some people. And you're realizing, oh my gosh, there's a market for that. And there's a competitive market, and I might have to get out there and see what I'm capable of. And the Wheel of Fortune's coming in saying, yeah, the time is now. Now I'm going to pull some clarifiers, so we're going to see what else wants to come out here. There might be a whole other story that emerges. We'll find out, Leo. But I do really get, again, Three of Cups, Two of Cups, because you're asking to be faced the Five of Cups. There's something here around either you're going to realize that someone's coming into your life. You might, in kind of facing all of those moments where something disappointing happened, you're going to have this kind of like aha moment of a connection with somebody else. And that might actually kind of bring in the individual who might help you to see, again, this new way forward or this kind of change in direction. Okay, so for strength, we have the Nine of Swords again. So it's the same card. So we had the Nine of Swords upright, and then we had the Lovers came up face down on top of that. So for some of you, you might be worried about a romantic partnership in your life. There could be if you're looking to maybe make a new decision here towards something, this could actually be where maybe you're worried about what the other individual in your life is going to think. Or it might be a worry that for some of you, this could actually be moving towards someone in your life. With the Seven of Cups and the Eight of Cups, this could be, Seven of Cups could be the person in a romantic situation who's like, I don't really want to commit because what if this is the wrong person for me? There's so many other options out there. Like, how do I know that this person is the one? And I think for many of you with the Eight of Cups, you're realizing that that's not a fulfilling mindset to be in. That there might be this realization that this person is the one. This person is the one that you want to, chart the next part of your life with. And that this person might actually be the Ten of Cups for you, or take place in whatever this is for yourself. And there's a sense here of maybe being worried about that, being worried if I commit to this individual, if I have the courage to do that, and I have a courage to kind of see this broader vision for myself that involves this individual, then what does that mean? What if I get hurt with the Three of Swords? What if this person leaves me like the last person? Or what if it just ends in heartbreak the way that my last relationship did? Now, this can also be for those of you that this is not around a romantic partnership. I kind of feel like it might be, though, only because of the Ten of Cups coming in and the Queen of Pentacles. There's a sense here of kind of home and family life coming through. But this could also be around choosing what you love. So that could be another thing coming in here, where you finally are seeing something in your experience where you're like, instead of like looking at all these options and you're like, well, what if that career path is better? Or what if I choose to do this, or I want to do that? It's saying, I think for some of you, you've actually connected to a new passion, or you've connected to something that deeply resonates with what you love, and you're ready to chart a course towards that. But there is a fear that can be like saying, well, now I know I have to leave my 9-to-5, something I've done my whole life, to follow a passion. And is that really going, in the past, I've seen, this could even be the Three of Swords, can even be the woundings of other people in your life. You could have said, well, I watched my parents try to open their own business and it failed, and I don't want to be that person. I've watched other people try to do the same thing that I'm doing and it didn't work out. And so I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can make this decision. So there's something around making the decision to follow your heart, whether it's something that you love or whether it's a person that you love. Now, Three of Swords with the Seven of Swords. Yeah, many of you are trying to avoid looking at those wounds. That's what the Three of Swords is. Or I'm sorry, the Seven of Swords. It's an avoidance behavior. It's sometimes can be self-sabotage, but mostly it's just where we're trying to avoid. We're asking ourselves, is it worth it for me to go to that place? Is it worth it for me to kind of open up these wounds again? And I really get the feeling that, yes, it is. It very much so is, because it's going to show you where you're afraid, where all this worry is coming from. Yeah, and the Queen of Wands coming in. There's an avoidance of really owning your own power, Leo. Queen of Wands is the energy of someone who, I like to call it the witch archetype in the tarot. She can literally make a sunflower bloom in the middle of a barren desert. That's the energy that the original image on the Rider-Waite tarot deck shows. A queen sitting with a black cat at her feet on a throne in the desert holding a sunflower. It really speaks to being able to bloom where you're planted, being able to shine at your brightest. There's an attractive quality about her. She kind of just almost like magnetizes people to her as she lives her passion. And now for some of you, if this was a personal reading, this could actually represent an Aries in your life or another fire sign in your life. So this could represent someone who harnesses the characteristics of the Queen of Wands. And that's for some of you, you are avoiding either a painful moment with them, or this is the individual that you're looking to maybe commit to, and you're kind of avoiding that because, again, you don't want to face the hurt of something similar in the past. Now, for many of you, this could just be that you don't want to face the wounds of the past, and that you're kind of limiting yourself from really shining. You're limiting yourself from really diving into tapping into your magic. And the magic, I feel, is really coming from your happy home life. That magic is really speaking to, that's where it is. And you're kind of avoiding that almost because, again, of the wounds of the past. So let's see here. Let's dive a little deeper into the Nine of Swords. What is this worry? Ten of Swords. Yeah, you're worried that you're going to be hurt again. Wow, Ten of Swords and Ten of Wands. That speaks to some heavy stuff. I won't swear. I will try not to swear, but Ten of Swords, Ten of Wands. This speaks to a time when we were brought to our knees, where we felt like we were carrying a heavy burden ourselves, and we were being stabbed over and over and over again in the back. Now, the interesting thing with the Ten of Swords and the Ten of Wands, though, as much as they speak to hardship and pain, they also speak to the closing out of a cycle and release. The Ten of Swords says, yes, you were stabbed 10 times in the back, but you didn't die. Now the cycle starts with the Ace of Swords, the clarity, the realization of what you learned from that experience, of what you're capable of. The Ten of Wands speaks to the realization of, wow, I'm never going to carry all that weight on my shoulders again. I realize now how when I started with the one wand, I should have positioned that a little differently. Instead of doing it the way I did, where I'm precariously trying to carry everything myself, next time I'm going to ask for help. Next time I'm going to put a boundary up that says, no, I'm not going to work 3 extra hours every night. The next time I'm going to rely a little more on my partner to take some of the burden. The next time I'm going to rely more on putting up boundaries in my workplace. There's something here where there's a realization of that, yes, a lot of the worry does come from this very difficult time that you went through. But in reality, now when you get a chance with the Queen of Swords coming in prominently is, to see it in a new light, to see actually that in going through that and having survived that time, what did you actually learn about yourself, and how can you now apply that in such a stronger way to committing to your heart, to choosing what you love. So let's go ahead here and see what's going on with the Wheel of Fortune. We have the Four of Swords, which is great. You go from the Three of Swords to the Four of Swords. It really says that the opportunity comes from you being able to review and reflect on the Three of Swords. That's what the Four of Swords is. It's a time of reflection. It can be a time even of rejuvenation, because you're looking at the Three Swords and you're putting them away and you're reclaiming your sword of truth. You're being able to just put the past to rest. Okay, and then we have the Three of Cups. Yeah, for many of you, there, kind of like what I thought, there is some wounding around community, around feeling like you have a tribe, others you can celebrate with. The Three of Cups really speaks to that. It speaks to others who can come with their equal cup and celebrate with you and be that tribe. And this may be that maybe for some of you, you realize that you've held yourself back. You've held the brightest part of yourself back because of how you were hurt in the past. And there's a sense now that the wheel is turning for you to be able to have the Ten of Cups, for you to be able to be your brightest self, for you to put to bed those that didn't, kind of the stories, the wounds of the past, and to be able to say, yes, I was hurt by other people at some point in my life or by situations. But in reality, I always had a support system. I always had somebody there for me, and that is what I'm grateful for. And I'm also grateful for the lessons I learned about myself and how I'll never put myself in those situations again. So let's see what's going on with this Ace of Swords. And so again, this could be where there's this element of having clarity where there had been maybe a level of competition, a level of chaos, maybe now it's time to say, I don't have to jump into that anymore. Or the opposite, for those of you who are looking to maybe pick up a new passion, this could be saying, you know what, I need to get back out there. It's time for me to take my magic wand out into the world again and see what I'm capable of, or see what it's capable of. Okay. Ooh, okay, so we have 4 cards that came out, which is like 2 different stories here. The Chariot and Judgment. And then underneath we have the Page of Swords and we have the Moon. Wow. So Judgment. This is a major hard-hitting card. This is a card that says you're a new version of yourself. An old version of yourself had to die, basically, had to pass away for you to be able to be called up as the new version. Now with the Moon, it does say the way is unclear. You don't know what this new version of yourself is truly capable of. This is kind of the start of the new cycle for yourself. You don't know what that magic wand might truly be capable of. You might have a certain vision for yourself, but this is just the first step. This is choosing to take that road and as the new you, seeing the world from in a new way. The Chariot. The Chariot is a card of getting back kind of into the driver's seat of your life and being able to start to move in a way that feels authentic to you, in a way that feels like you're moving to your kind of final, ultimately will feel like home for yourself, the kind of the Ten of Cups. That's what I always see the Chariot moving towards, is the Ten of Cups. With the Page of Swords behind that, the Page of Swords is being curious about that. There's a sense of the Page of Swords wants to know more information. They're open to seeing and hearing other perspectives, to getting more information. This would be almost like the individual who is getting back in the driver's seat, but they're looking at the map and they're looking at it going, I used to do it this way with the Two of Swords. I used to, always choose to go on the freeways because it was the fastest way to get from point A to point B. But you know what? What if I took the side road that I've never taken? In the 20 years I've gone down this one road, what if I decide to go in a different way? And there might be this sense of opening yourself up with curiosity to say, what have I missed all this time? What are those little small towns in between point A and my ultimate destination? And maybe now I'm going to see that there might be a truth in how you are moving forward before. And there's a sense now that you've changed. So you see the map in a new way. There might be a sense of, back 10, 15 years ago, even 2 years ago, I might have been the person who just had to go because I just wanted to get from point A to point B. I didn't want to have to stop and worry that I was going to, I might meet somebody and they might be mean to me or hurt me or whatever. I just wanted to wake up, get from here to work and back. There could also be a change as well, not only maybe how you read the map now and how you see things, but it can also be that with judgment, you might see a new path. It's almost like when we have judgment come in like this in the moon. There's a sense here of you're not quite sure what this new version of yourself, like why you were called up and why you feel pulled. The moon does speak to harnessing our intuition. You might feel this call to go somewhere, and it could be even a call towards a person to choose a path. And suddenly you're looking at this going, that's interesting. I've been going in one way this whole time, but I'm feeling now today when I look at the map that I suddenly have to go in this direction. And I can't explain it. I just am being asked to trust my intuition, and can I do this on faith? And there's something around that coming through here. And I think it might maybe with the Five of Wands, when you think about the Five of Wands, this could be like where you're going on the new adventure and you're not quite sure what you're going to come up against. But there's a sense here of really getting clear as to what you've already addressed, what you're already capable of. And that's going to give you the courage to say, you know what? A little Five of Wands is nothing compared to the 10 of Wands. If I get a couple, knocks or whatever, I can get out and just, be able to handle that situation and I'll get back in. There's a feeling coming through like that for many of you here. And yes, then we have the Eight of Wands as your third underlying energy. This is fast movement. This is the portal. This is let's get up and go. There's a sense here of if you make this decision to get in this Chariot and to trust your intuition as to where you're feeling called now as the new version of yourself, where is your heart calling you, Leo? Because you're being asked to choose what you love, whether it is a vision for yourself that resonates with love, that this would be the ultimate loving gift for yourself to start to move in this direction, to choose that path over the path you've been on. This could be like a total change in your own focus. This could be saying like, I focused on my career path for the past 15 years, but now my heart is calling me to focus on my home and family. And so I need to walk away maybe from a business I've built and just focus on my family. Or it could be the total opposite. So keep that in mind. Or this could be where maybe you haven't been in a relationship for a long period of time and you're like, I need to commit to this person. my heart is calling me to follow this person or to get in. I always thought my chariot was going to go this way, but now this person is showing me a new path, and I'm going to be curious and be open about that. That's the Page of Swords. I'm going to be curious and open to where this new path is taking me, but I know that I'm in the driver's seat ultimately. And that's where, like, I love how this image always looks to me kind of like getting on a railroad track that's just kind of rocket you forward towards the promised land. And that's a sense here that's coming through. It's like the clarity and the realization of how much you've changed. And if you can have the courage to follow your heart and get past kind of all this worry around what didn't work out in the past, you have a portal just to move you towards the Ten of Cups. It's really, really beautiful. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull a couple more cards here. We're going to pull one here from our Energy Oracle deck just to get a little bit of another look at, again, the main theme for the energy for the month of August for you, Leo. But I do get this feeling it could be, again, a fated something, whether you meet that fated love of your life, whether you meet the individual who changes how you see your career path or even how you see your own life. This could be like meeting that person who says, you know what, I used to work 100 hours a week just like you, but then I made 3 changes to my life and suddenly this became my priority, and now I live a life where I travel when I want and I spend time with my family when I want, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, I didn't even know that was possible. It's all of a sudden it's like opening this gateway, but then there's the fear that comes in. It's like you like see what you all of a sudden resonate with what you love, but then all the pain of the past comes in and says, no, don't do it. And this is where this month you get that chance. The Wheel of Fortune is there. You get that chance, and it might be a chance to where you get to join a new community. Others, when we think about what you're seeing here, there's that chance to really have that celebration. To find equal partners, to find people who want to clink their cup with yours, but you have to be the one to open yourself up to that, to get past the wounding and the fear of the past, to allow yourself to shine very brightly. Okay, so we have 3 cards that came out, which is so interesting. We have the 4th chakra, Archangel Raphael, number 38, one of my favorite numbers, breaks down to the number 11, which is a master number, the portal, the gateway between what is and what can be, when we have the courage to take advantage of that doorway opening and the courage that comes to know that we are co-creating with spirit. So when these opportunities arise and we get that kind of peek, that glimpse of the door, if we have the courage to step through it, what can come? We have Healer of the Ages, number 51, breaking down to the number 6, which resonates with the energy of love. It's also the energy of what we can build in the physical when we manifest through the energy of love. And that's for me personally working with that number. And then we have adjacent possibilities, number 24, also breaking down to the number 6. So there is, with the adjacent possibilities, I always think it's funny with this image because the door opening in the floor always is the one that strikes me the most. It's almost like we're walking and we see all the opportunities around us and we're like, eh. And then suddenly what we're not looking at is the hole in the floor, and that's like what almost like drops us into a whole nother kind of like here, that portal energy of a whole nother experience that we weren't even considering, couldn't even see because we were too busy looking up here. So there's a sense definitely that there is possibly this month a glimpse through a door, a larger vision for yourself, something where you see something you had not seen before, and there could be a choice to be made. For some of you, it could, again, with the 4th chakra is the heart chakra. That literally is your heart chakra. So there's a sense here of following your heart, using your heart as a guide this month, Leo. Now, that shouldn't be hard for you because that is what you rule. You rule the heart. You also are ruled by the sun. And so this is about shining from that place of kind of the heart chakra, of really being able to when we think of where that lion-hearted courage comes from, that's you. It's your heart. It's what you love. And there's something here that says if you really tap into that this month and you follow your heart and you do so with courage, it can lead to a sense of actually finding your place, finding your community. For some of you, even finding your calling, with the Healer of the Ages coming through here. Okay, so now I'm going to pull a Power of Surrender card, and then we'll pull one final card after this to get just another look at the overarching energy for the month for you guys, the kind of theme for the month. So what do you need to know about where you need to surrender this month, Leo? You know what? I'm going to pull a couple clarifiers for the Adjacent Possibilities card. So see what wants to come in there. All right. So we have, I love it. It says surrender to the wisdom of your body. Well, there you go. It says listen to your body's messages about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you are energized and happy, move forward. And this is all saying with the moon in this, very much trust your intuition, trust what you feel, and trust what you feel in your heart. You can see this individual is very much in touch with herself. She is using her own self, her own feelings as a guide. She's not in her head worried and letting the thoughts run away from her. She's just feeling into it through her emotional and heart center. Now I'm just going to pull some clarifiers for the Adjacent Possibilities, because that's really standing out to me here. What does Leo need to know about Adjacent Possibilities? Number 24. Okay, so we have Seven of Wands, Strength again, the Hierophant, and the Four of Wands. Interesting. So there's a theme here for some of you with the Hierophant and the Four of Wands. There's a sense here of maybe committing to a long-term relationship like a marriage. The Four of Wands speaks to a foundation that has been undertaken through taking action from a place of passion, something you can celebrate with others. The Hierophant speaks to commitments, what we commit to, what we choose to follow. It's kind of that inner spiritual part of ourselves as well that we use as the guide to make our rules in our life, what we choose internally and both externally to follow. Now with the Seven of Wands and Strength, this is also about standing very firm in your convictions. The Seven of Wands is a card of defending how you're choosing to take action, even why you're choosing to take action. And there's a sense here of having the courage to really stand in that firm place of defending yourself, defending what you're choosing to do, and committing. There's a commitment to a foundation. And I think for many of you, this could, if this is romantically involved, this could be committing to another individual. This could be literally saying, hey, I want to get married. I want to propose something to you. There could be the Adjacent Possibilities. I mean, again, there may be a new way of even seeing this. There might be a new way of seeing maybe a foundation that, I'm trying to see, like, how can I explain this here? So with Adjacent Possibilities, there might be a sense here of, for some of you, again, there might be an opportunity that comes in that maybe changes your perspective as to the path, the way that you are moving. And again, this could be where maybe you said you were never going to get married. I'm never going to get married again. I'm never going to do that. I'm never, because the last time it ended, that was a difficult one. This is saying, but maybe this is the time. Maybe again, you've learned something about yourself, and now you get a chance to have the courage to try again, but do it in a way that you're committing to it from a new perspective, from an unwounded heart, a heart where those swords have been pulled out of it. And there's a sense here, again, around maybe there's another way to do something as well. That's another thing. There could be something here where, maybe you were looking to have a business, if you're thinking of the Four of Wands, that could also be the foundation for a business. And there may be something coming in here where maybe all of a sudden, with the Hierophant coming in, you're tapping into that inner spiritual part of yourself, and you're realizing, oh my gosh, I want to bring this aspect of myself into the building of this business. I see a new way that when I was saying, for some of you, this might be actually where you find your calling, you find your purpose, where you suddenly realize what you uniquely can bring to something because someone tips you off to it and it resonates with your heart. This would be like saying, oh my gosh, I was going to have this business where I was, whatever, just fill in the blanks. I was going to make hats that looked like this, and I was going to sell them on Etsy. And suddenly you realize, oh my gosh, there's a broader thing that you love in your life. Like, let's say maybe you love animal rescue, and you're like, you know what? I could actually make these hats, and I can take a portion of these proceeds and put it back into an animal rescue, and I'm going to actually make the hats shaped like animals or something like that, where it's all of a sudden it's like this adjacent possibility that you weren't thinking of originally when you were starting out here, but suddenly something comes in for you like that, and you realize, I can connect two passions together, and there's a new broader vision, and that might connect you to a whole nother, with the Three of Cups, that might connect you to a whole nother group of people. That could be all of a sudden you're going to have this whole group of people around the world who love animal rescue and are just as passionate, and suddenly you've opened the door to bringing that element into your life that you kind of never really considered. It was just kind of something that you had told people you're interested in. Maybe every once in a while you donated a little money here, or you did a little bit of something, there. You maybe maybe you adopted an animal, or you sheltered an animal here and there, something along those lines, where all of a sudden now you realize, I can be a part of this on a larger scale, and I can do so from a place that resonates deeply with something that only I can bring, something that I love, something that really means something to me. Now, this could also be obviously around a relationship as well. It could be the same thing, that suddenly you just realize, oh my gosh, I see marriage and commitment in a whole new light because of this person I've met. And I realize I can commit again. I can build a better foundation with this person than I did before previously with someone else. And I never thought it would look like this. Maybe I never thought I'd move across the country for this person, or I never thought I'd be living in another, whatever it is. It could be something where all of a sudden that foundation is very different maybe from what you had originally seen that foundation to be. And you're realizing now your part to play in that, and how there's suddenly a broader picture that fits with who you are now and resonates more with your heart. Very interesting reading here. It's a very positive reading, Leo. It may seem kind of dramatic as you're going through it. Heart openings, when we talk about having kind of a heart chakra opening, it can be painful, because when we kind of open up those wounds again, it hurts. But we also let them breathe. We let them finally heal. We also see how strong our body is capable of healing on that kind of spiritual and emotional level. And then at that point, we've allowed that heart space to actually open. And that's what really allows us then to attract in, almost like magnets to us, what's been waiting to come in but couldn't, because of all the scar tissue that was there, because of how we probably had kind of collapsed our own chest and bolstered our just to use it as a metaphor, our rib cage to, protect that part of ourself. And once it's cracked open, finally those things that want to magnetize to it are able to flood in. But it'll be a little painful, but I think it's opening up to something quite incredible. Let's see here. Let's see what Leo needs to know. Okay, so we have 2 cards here as your final message. We have Dark Night of the Soul, and we have Reassurance of the Golden Light. I love it. Now look at these images. Very similar. Both images are someone who has their eyes closed, someone who is really connecting with light, light even in the darkness. And there's a sense here with the number 16 breaking down to the number 7, that confidence in the self and the connection to spirit. That's what the 7 really represents. And then number 36 breaks down to the number 9. That is really harnessing the energy of the magician. It's harnessing the energy of universal knowledge. So let's see. I'm just going to read the little short excerpt with each one of these. So 16, it says, Dark Night of the Soul. You are ready for a more real and radiant relationship with the divine. Your preconceived ideas and safe limiting beliefs may be sacrificed in order for this to happen. To the divine, these are only the clothing of your spirit. They are impediments to the absolute intimacy the divine seeks with you. You might feel vulnerable or uncertain as the divine goes about stripping away these barriers. This is when you enter the dark night of the soul. You understand there is nothing to rely upon but the divine, and you will find it difficult to trust at times. This night will end, however, and the sweetness of the divine dawning in your heart shall render all worthwhile. But for now, you are meant to feel exactly as you feel. You're not doing something wrong. You are moving closer to the divine. It says, even though you are already on a spiritual path this lifetime, you can go deeper. Sometimes people know this and yet are afraid. Familiar with emotional drama, they are hesitant to let go of what they know, even if that is emotional suffering and mental anguish. This is emotional suffering and mental anguish is exactly the Ten of Swords and the Ten of Wands. That fear prevents them from being willing to trust in the loving hand reaching out to them. It might seem silly, yet letting go of fear to take hold of the hand of love can be extraordinarily difficult. And that is exactly what you're being asked to do this month, is to take hold of the hand of love. There is something here around that really is resonating. And there's a lot of fear. That's the Nine of Wands. Fear and anxiety that comes through that says, but can I actually hold my hand out and choose what I love? And this is saying yes. And you're being asked to have that courage that only you can really have, Leo. Okay, and then we have reassurance of the golden light. It says, this golden light comes to you as a gift of grace and reassurance. It is an embrace from the universe, an expression of divine comfort, and a sign of hope. When the golden light appears, it is a sign that everything in your life, even the most troubling matters, is going to work out perfectly. They are held in the graceful hand of the divine and will be resolved more swiftly and beautifully than you might expect. It says the golden light is a very real phenomenon. Although you may only perceive it when you are particularly relaxed and your clairvoyance is already developed. However, whether you see it physically or not, it is real and powerful. If you could see it clairvoyantly, it would look similar to the golden rays of a setting sun. The same warm, loving glow is cast over your heart and mind when the golden light is shining upon you. If you are in a room when it comes upon you, you will wonder if a light has been switched, as the glow is as noticeable as if a lamp had been placed in your room, its warmth illuminating the space. In truth, grace and divine assistance are always there for the asking, but there are times when we are in need of extra support. During such times, ironically enough, we can forget to ask for help. I like how it says, perhaps you are struggling with a particularly difficult time in an initiation, or a challenging choice lies before you. Or maybe you have taken a leap and just need to know that you are doing the right thing, and somehow, even though you don't feel in control of what is happening, it is going to work out. This is basically saying, yes, there is a choice in love to be made this month for many of you. And it may feel, again, like you're kind of going, so maybe I'd even be reopening that dark night of the soul. Maybe you've already gone through, but there's a sense here of, with these two cards, saying things are going to work out. Choose love over the fear of the pain of the past. And I think what's going to be amazing is the quickness at how this is going to bring in something, a truth about yourself, a realization. And it's also going to be, I think, bringing in community and support for yourself, celebration. There's a sense here of, again, just leaning into what you love. Choose love over fear. Get into your courageous self, Leo, and really lean into love with that confidence. Yes, the way is unclear, but trust that you've also been called up as a new version of yourself, and this new version is perfect for the way you're being called to embrace. All right, I will leave it there, Leo. I hope you all have a wonderful month ahead. I'm really excited to just see what happens for all of you. If you'd like to book your own personal reading, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, I will be releasing, as usual, the weekly Terabyte readings, which are just short readings for each sign that I post at the beginning of the week, just so that you can kind of keep a more limited or minor focus for each week for yourself, so that you kind of don't forget about staying in the present moment. All right. I look forward to reading for you next month in your next illumination reading. Bye, Leo.